Good day, dear surgeons. We are going to talk about MRCS Part A in particularly and how to pass and master the MRCS, the whole story from A to Z. We'll talk about what is MRCS and why should I take MRCS, what is the style of the exam and what is our study plan and the study material and where to find it. Where is the secret bank and who's Fawzia everybody talk about when they take MRCS and what not to do during our study camp. Must topics in the exam and the pass rate of the exam and do I need a course or not? So let's go ahead with what is MRCS. MRCS is a surgical diploma certified from four royal colleges in UK. MRCS is a surgical diploma without training. It's not recognized in many countries, so you have to revise the MRCS is recognized in your country or not. In Egypt, it's recognized as a diploma which is lower than the master's degree, but you can add a paper later on and make it a master's degree. You can work with it in Arab countries when you have a training course. Without training course, it's not recognized or much appreciated as much as that with training course. So how to submit for it? Just go to the online site of the Royal College and fill in the form of the exam, pay for it, and prepare your English certificate to be sent by mail, the regular mail, not the email, or hand it by your hand in the British Council. We said there are four Royal Colleges: Edinburgh, England, Glasgow, and Ireland. Is there a difference between the Royal Colleges for MRCS? No, the exam is the same wherever you take it, and you are eligible to take Part A with college and Part B with another college, and you are certified to the second college which provided you MRCS Part B. Don't bother yourself with all those details. Why should someone take Part A with a college and Part B with a college? Does this have anything with a pass rate? No, it may be due to geographical distribution of the centers of sex. So why should I take MRCS when you said it's just a medical diploma without a training? The scope of the exam will broaden your mind and change the mode of thinking. Most third countries depend on just memorizing the ideas. This will bring your mind up to think. It's not a general surgery exam, it's the basic science of surgery exam. And you will wonder, he is not asking you about the details of the surgery, but asking you how will you manage with the pre-op and post-op of the patient more than the main surgery. You will wonder with the distribution of mark. Many take the MRCS for immigration and it's good for them. Some take it because it's a faster way to provide them with the upgrade to a specialist. What is the exam style or format? It's an MCQ format. No EMQ, no matching style, no written question, no oral, no OSCE. In Part A, just MCQ regular format. In Part B, OSCE and oral exam. We'll talk about Part B later and let's focus on Part A. The exam answer sheet will be just like the answer sheet on the screen and the exam style of questions just like this question on the screen, but the answer will be filled in the answer sheet, not below the question. Yes, the question is not on computer until now, 2020. Yes, you will have the day of the exam, a bunch of papers. You have to scroll through them with your hand and a pencil to fill in your answer sheet. You have 300 questions. Part A contains 300 questions, paper 1, paper 2, paper 1, 180 questions, paper 2, 120 questions. Have a marathon with time and question. The 180 question in paper 1 will be about basic science, anatomy, physiology, pathology, microbiology, pharmacology, and all of that. While paper 2 will be focusing more on the surgical specialty. To be familiar with the exam, you have to know the official mark distribution from the Royal College. In front of you, this is the Royal College official mark distribution. First, paper 1 will be compromising anatomy and it's a main bulk in the exam. It won't be just anatomy. 75 questions in paper 1 from anatomy, so if you conquer anatomy, you are conquering the exam. But have a look at this mark distribution. You will find that not all anatomy will be asked. You will not have a head and neck anatomy exam. You will not having an abdomen exam. No, abdomen will have only 15 questions. limbs 15 questions, head and neck 10 questions. But I'm not good at embryology that much. Does it come? Yes, it has only 8 questions from the 75 questions and overlapping with the other chapters from the surgical specialties, and you gonna know it. So take it piecemeal and don't waste your time on embryology and focus on the more valuable mark in anatomy. That's it. I'm not good at head and neck. Okay, he will not ask you all about head, not all about neck, not all about brain and the foramina. Don't create your own monster. So chill out and study smart. Know the scope of the exam and study smart. Regarding the rest of the paper one, you will find a 45 question for physiology, 37 question about pathology. But I'm not good at physiology. That's why I started surgery from the first time. If I'm good at physiology, I would take internal medicine. So it's not about the whole physiology. It will ask you 5 about cardiovascular, 5 about respiratory system, subspecialties. It will not focus on cardiovascular and ask you all questions in physiology about cardiovascular. There is a trick about physiology especially. The physiology questions have a scope, just like the anatomy. And there are essential questions to be asked in the exam. We will talk about it and you will wonder you are going to the exam with the main scope of the physiology without knowing. The 45 questions almost will be with you when you are going to the exam. So study smart again. What about pathology? Will I take book like Robins and study it? No. The pathology in the MRCS scope is like a revision of the surgical specialty chapter. That's why during our plan we will keep it to the last after the surgical specialty. And regarding the pharma and the micro, as you see, 8 questions, 7 questions. We are not talking about leaving the question, but about studying smart and not panic from those topics. Regarding paper 2, you will wonder that they are talking about orthopedic questions with 7 questions and the pre-op 35 and the trauma 30 questions. So they are telling you that the vascular will be only 4 questions and the breast and endocrinology will be only 3 questions. Yes. Are they talking really that the orthopedic question 7? No, because the orthopedic is overlapping with trauma and the pre-op, post-op and the anatomy. So be smart. Now let's break the code of the monster of this exam, the stats, audit and medical legality. Why so many spend time to study stats from the beginning and may take a week studying stats and medical legal when they have only 1 day enough or taking piecemeals, and this is enough because the ideas in the exam regarding those topics only 3 questions and mostly recurrent. So take them piecemeal, don't create your own monster, and focus your time on the main bulk questions regarding paper 2. The exam won't be 120 questions on stats. Again, study smart rather than hard. What is the most appropriate study plan? We have either 3 months or 6 months plan. Some say 3, some say 6. Which is correct? Both are correct. 3 months is more than enough. 6 months will give you the privilege to have extra reading and you will strict impose plans to the study materials we provide. The study materials is the trick in this exam and the style of study more important than the time. Will you be shocked to know that some people study for this exam for only 2 months? It's not all about timing, but the style of reading and studying. So if you study the study material correct and have many revisions as much as you can, you will conquer this exam just like a knife in a piece of cake. In the description, you will find a link to a schedule which will help you to organize your time and know how many days for each topic and what to study for each topic. You have to organize your time and your materials, and whatever schedule you are following, you have to finish the question bank you are following not less than 3 times, and you have to have 1 month of revision to revise what you have studied. Never depend on one-time study, and you have to have regular mocks, which are included in our schedule. When to take the exam? You have to be specific what you mean by this question. When in your life career, the earlier the better. As long as you take it postgraduate will be good. You don't have to be a resident to take it, but it's better when you are graduated to take it. When in the exam timing, you mean the exam is set in January, April, and September, and the passing rate in January better than April. Don't follow those people by any way. Whenever you are ready, take your. You will have the spirit of conquering the exam always. What are the studying material recommended? We have a studying material, about 9 studying material choices all over from the past candidates, comprising of question banks which is recommended by the Royal College itself and it's not a secret, which is MRCS past test, on exam, and RCS revision tool which is on the site of the Royal College, and Fawzia sheet and the records. Google Dr. Google, which is so famous, and a study group. There are many free study groups, and you can start your own. An MCQ book, extra MCQ book in particularly, and the small textbook. We put the small textbook the last choice because you will rarely refer to them. You will never need small textbook to read because the question bank, especially MRCS, has many detailed explanation regarding the scope of the exam. But all of this is a lot of load. This will suit the 6 months plan. 6 months plan, you can take small textbook and extra MCQ book, but we are talking about the 3 months plan. 3 months plan study material will be EMRCS, past test, Fawzia and Records, Google, and the study group, and that's it. Don't you recommend any textbook? No. Are those materials available? Yes. What is the records? I am not familiar with this word. It's the past exams told by the candidates. What should I do with Google? You will Google every question you want more explanation for it rather than going for the textbook you have because you are following the guideline of the NIS and NHS, not your local guidelines or your basic knowledge. So extra data needed, you will have to refer to the NHS or NIS guideline. And the anatomy scope will need a clear picture regarding Google Photos. It will be your friend in this exam. Whenever you need any more extra data to study, you have to Google it rather than search for it on the regular Google. Where to find the data? The data are available either online with subscription for who can afford it, or the bus colleague and bus candidate have took screenshots and made it in PDF style for offline scrolling. Where is the secret bank? Many paid courses claim a secret bank. The secret bank is simply the records. There is no secret bank. It's a past exam records told by past candidate to the fellow candidate so they can keep up with the exam style questions. And many questions are repeated. So who is
And now a
Fawzia
big question
and what is her
about who
secret?
is Fawzia
Fawzia
and what's her secret. It's simply a famous record comprises 300 questions, very recurrent in the exam, and you have to study this record very well because most of the records are not organized complete question. But Fawzia records were organized 300 questions, and many questions came to the exam as they are coming in Fawzia exactly by the same word, but they know that we know most of the records. So they modify the question style for a while. So take care while you're studying, know the idea, not memorizing only the question.
what not to do and why some great surgeons didn't pass from the first attempt. Never to do list. Never study alone. You will get deceived by your rate. You may find your rate with 50 questions per day is enough. No, you have to reach 200 questions per day. You won't reach this with yourself alone. Never take a book without MCQ bank. You have to study the MCQ bank solved and read extra from the textbook if you have time. Never lose your schedule and get strict with it. Never test yourself before study. So how come you are telling me to study MCQ banks and not to test myself? How can I study MCQ? You have to read the question and its answer and its explanation. Then after the chapter, you will have to take a mock exam on the chapter. Never forget to revise what you have studied and never study all files.
especially with the new guidelines regarding Trauma ATLS Protocol 10th edition and the CRISP Protocol 4th edition. They are strictly approved in the exam. There are new modifications in the ATLS 10th edition than the 9th edition and the 8th edition. So take care while you are studying your materials. They are following those protocols specially.
Never waste your time on a low bulk hard new question style for you, like the stats and embryology specifically. Many waste more than a week studying stats to understand it very well and to study medical legal questions very well and embryology and waste more than 2 weeks on those topics, which is 8 questions, 3 questions, we are talking about 10 more. And those low bulk questions can be studied piecemeal and be more sufficient for the exam style. You are not going to be embryology, not in this exam. Never make the exam day your first time to self-test. Many have made this mistake to take the exam the first time, the day of the exam, yes, and they never test themselves even one. But together we will take many mocks as much as we can. Taking course doesn't guarantee that you will pass, but it will guarantee a time management. And we will talk about never distract yourself in your early day. You will find many groups, many study direct to one study plan and one group at least the first month to keep up with the style of the exam study and then join all groups and answer any question you face after finishing your first wave of study. Never stop believing in this new study style. Yes, it's a weird new way if you didn't experience it before to study question rather than textbook, but believe it early, the earlier the better. That if you study the MCQ bank is the best way to conquer this exam. Never give up helping others. When you help anyone, you are helping yourself. There are many tips and tricks for this exam.
Study the question banks, take screenshots, read the last line before reading the whole scenario of the question. It might be irrelevant to it, and a separate direct question. Share difficult questions. Sharing make you revise the question more than 5 times at least. Time when you take a screenshot. Time when you prepare it to post it on the Facebook or your study group. Time when you discuss it with your friends and you revise it and you are saving it again. Keep the records after your study wave, not before it. Believe you are going for 100% of the exam from the first attempt. Keep your body healthy and your mind clear. Fix your study cycle and sleeping cycle.
Please take screenshot for every question face you and you find it a new idea. It will be at first time study many screenshots. For the anatomy, for example, you will have 600 questions to study. The first wave of your study you might find yourself taking 300 screenshots or more. But the second time you would wonder with your style. Third time will take no screenshot or one or two. Will I have the luxury of time to study more than 3 times? Every chapter, yes. If you take a screenshot and share it, you will study this question more than 5 times. There are many tips and tricks, we will talk about them later. So, what are the must topics in the exam? The first and second, third topic in the exam is anatomy. We have 75 questions pure anatomy, and the rest of the exam will be trauma, ortho, pre-op, and post-op. Those are the main bulk, main topics in the exam. You study whatever you want, but those are the overlapping topics with every chapter with every MRCS exam. We have at least 50 questions known before you enter in this exam because those topics will compromise many questions. You will have, for example, the physiology, ABG, electrolyte imbalance, Glasgow scale, ECG, vitamins, and SAIDA and its differentials. Each topic from those topics will have at least 3 questions. So we are talking about 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 times 6 questions you are knowing from physiology, the 45 questions when you are entering the exam. The termatomes and nerve injuries, vertebral levels are high yield questions from the anatomy. The stats and consent and audit. 3 questions must come in the exam and you will know at least 2 of them if not the 3. Wound coverage, fracture type, pediatric orthopedics and congenital GIT. Those topics are those secret topics? No, you can read the exam format and revise that this is the secret they told you in the exam style format from the Royal College itself. the 300 question in the 300 minutes, the 180 question of the basic science, and the 120 questions, the surgical specialties. We have 15 questions about limb, and they love to talk about the nerve injuries. So you are knowing at least 5 questions from the 15 questions, and the fractures from the limbs. So you are knowing at least another 5, so you are knowing 10, if not the whole 15, from the limbs only. Can you believe it? And regarding the physiology, you are knowing at least from the 45 questions, not less than 18, right? So give yourself a break. The pathology is a revision for the surgical specialty. So you know most of the exam, or at least 50 questions, will be with you. 50 questions and 50 questions from the records. You are talking about 100 questions, more than third of the exam with you. No, 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 no. And 75 questions pure anatomy and 37 questions regarding the pathology. You are having more than 200 questions pre-known when you are entering this exam, so you can conquer it. Believe it. See, paper 2, mainly pre-op, trauma, and post-op. Regarding the medical legal, again, 3 questions. The pass rate of the exam is pretty tricky algorithm. The pass rate from 70 to 72% marks should be collected by you in the exam to pass. So you are going to enter the exam having the aim to target 100% of the whole questions. You can do it. But regarding to the pass rate from the whole candidates, from 25 to 30% from the whole candidate only pass. Don't think how hard it can be done, but that you are willing and you can do it, and you will do it. All have done it, so you can do it as well. You are a surgeon. You can make decision. You make hope. Be your own hope and your own motivation. You can pass with a high rate. Do I need a course, and what does the course offer? The course doesn't offer anything, no secret bank, nothing special. It's not even scientific based, but it's like a short revision. Someone you are hiring them to manage your time management, and telling you the ideas of the questions, and you will have to study by yourself again. So there is no secret bank, and any course claim a secret bank, they are scamming you. Secret bank again is the previous record which you are taking the course which you paid for, and you are telling the course the records to pay your other friends for the records you told them about. So this is not logic. The course just will make you time management. Take it if you can't manage your time. Taking the course without studying is not guaranteed, because no course has the exam and no one will study for you. And anyone have any question, you are welcome anytime. Thank you for your time, great sir. Be always successful, blessed and safe.